You know, when we collect information, we're usually trying to do one thing, understand it. But what if I told you that sometimes that's just the wrong way to go about it? Today, we're diving into a really powerful, kind of counterintuitive method, where the goal isn't the final insight, but the actual process of collecting it all.
Okay, so let's kick things off with Section 1, the common assumption. Before we get into this new idea, let's just talk about what we all think we're doing when we start our research. Picture this, a researcher, right? They're gearing up for a massive, maybe even career-defining project. It feels like a pretty obvious question, doesn't it? I mean, think about that researcher. They're surrounded by stacks of articles, hundreds of studies, endless data sets. They've got a zillion browser tabs open. What's the end game here? What are they actually trying to accomplish with all that stuff?
Yeah, usually it's all about the ideas. Our researcher is trying to understand their topic on a much deeper level, to connect different ideas and create something new. And ultimately, they're hoping for that aha moment where it all clicks and they finally see the big picture. This is research as we know it.
Section 2, the core task defined. But the method we're looking at today suggests something totally different for our researcher. It argues that way before you get to the synthesis part, there's this other step, a step that has nothing to do with intellectual discovery at all. It's all about a very specific organizational task.
And they call this core activity an organizational task. Just listen to the words they use here. Systematic, consolidation, arrangement, streamline. See? These are not words about learning or insight. These are words about efficient management, almost like running a machine. And the process itself? It's super methodical, almost like a checklist. First, our researcher just gathers up every single relevant document. Then they consolidate them, so everything's in one place. Next, and this is a big one, they arrange them in a really structured way. And finally, they put everything into one central spot. And that central spot, that repository, isn't just some folder on a computer. It's something real, something tangible. After all that work, the main physical thing our researcher has to show for it is one single, perfectly organized notebook. That notebook is the result of this whole phase.
Section 3, the surprising objective. So they've done all this work and they have their notebook. So what? This is where this whole concept just flips everything we think we know about research completely on its head.
Normally, you'd expect the goal to be analyzing the content, right? Or achieving some grand, big-picture understanding of it all. But no, the actual objective here, and the source material says this over and over, is simply the act of compiling. That's it. The process is the point.
And this quote from the source really just nails it. Listen to how absolute this is. The emphasis remains entirely on the organizational act of compilation itself. So it's not a step towards understanding. In this phase, it is the destination.
And you know, what's almost more telling is what this task is explicitly not for. The source makes it crystal clear that things like content analysis, intellectual synthesis, or finding big insights, all of that is completely off the table for now. A researcher is basically being told, hey, don't even worry about understanding the content. Yet.
Section 4, practicality over insight. So you're probably thinking, if this whole process isn't about gaining deep insights right now, then what's the practical value? Why would our researcher even bother? Well, the answer is all about preparing for the future.
The benefits are all about making your future self's life easier. When the time actually comes to write the paper or answer the big questions, our researcher won't be scrambling through a chaotic pile of documents. They'll have immediate access to exactly the right sources. The information is perfectly set up for future reference, turning what could be a nightmare task into something totally manageable. So this is the key right here. The value you get isn't from the learning you did while making the notebook. The real utility, the real power, comes from the structure you created. It's useful because it's perfectly arranged for later, not because of any deep analysis you did along the way.
And that brings us to our final section, which really boils this whole philosophy down to one simple, powerful idea.
It all comes down to this: organization over content. That's the guiding principle. For this specific kind of prep work, it means the system you build is way more valuable than any single piece of information inside it.
And just in case there was any doubt left, this final quote from the source material just seals the deal. The focus is specifically not on the content or any resulting comprehensive insights. The task is purely and unapologetically all about the act of organization.
So I'll leave you with this to chew on. This whole explainer has been about one very specific task, but the principle behind it is much bigger. In what other areas of your work or, hey, even your life, could it be true that the real value isn't in the final product, but in the system you build to get there? When is the process itself the most important point?